So
Dungeon Doom Hands, Let's Talk
Chris,
Lore, a
he's going
podcast.
to be creating a magic item tonight with me that we're going to be
Yep.
using on Monday. So how would you go about doing it?
So, if I'm wanting to bring something in, there's probably a reason for it. And this is specifically, you guys are about to go to the one little shop that I had planned in this whole area. And I wanted to have some cool little special things from the adventure that people could take with them and have like a memory, like a little token of it, but I still wanted to be something cool. So I often think of like anytime I'm trying to just throw something in there, have an option, I'm thinking, is there a niche in the party dynamic that needs to be filled?
Right.
Is there something that the group is lacking that I think like would make their lives less stressful and my life less stressful, and we could do other cool things that they want to do instead of worrying about not having enough food or something that they really don't care about. And then finding that way to make that unique to this world. Of like maybe it's from this specific town, and then you world build on there. Of there's these special trees in this mountain that creates this kind of thing. This special wood, just like violins, there's this special wood that makes a perfect sound. There's this special tree that makes these perfect wands for something.
Oh yeah, like the sap, the tree sap in the in Everglades or whatever.
Or the musical instruments from Trigard.
Right.
That were made from that specific special redwood.
Right.
Yeah.
Great.
And one thing that I love to do is if I'm making a homebrew item, like I can't complain if I break the game. So I just don't care if I break the game because
well, it's meant to be broken. You get to break it.
Yeah, and that's why I love to throw in like curses or the sentient items or other little fun things. And something else I love is
a whole...
items that upgrade.
There's a whole another topic that we can do another time, maybe next time.
Yeah.
Breaking the game, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Have we broken this game yet? I don't think so. But we get back to it.
We have, and then realize it, scaled back, and then decide not to break it.
That's important.
Well, I did break it just a little bit with Lone Star.
Which was what?
What? The Kraken to the
yeah.
Sea.
Well, that's the way you're supposed to do it. That's the only way you guys survived. That was putting a
bag of holding and a bag of holding.
Yeah, bag of holding and a bag of holding. The vortex. All right, so let's do it. So you were creating a magic item.
Right.
What's the dynamic that you're looking at?
So the way I like to approach it is there's a specific goal that I have in mind for this item, and it's going to be for a specific player. Like if I'm going to make something unique, I'm have an idea for someone.
Okay.
And the item that I want to make is for Sprock or Jake.
Okay.
And it feels like there's especially with his character having the tentacle face and not really being able to speak.
Right.
It limits his ability to interact with the group as much. And my thought was finding a way to make that easier to communicate and be more engaged and not have it feel like a hindrance.
Got it. Yeah, I mean the guy has the mental ability. He's essentially part mind flayer,
and he can speak.
Right, but he can't speak
He can speak telepathically, but it's
tough.
A lot of times that freaks people out.
Right. And also I can see how it gets in the way of roleplay. So what are you thinking?
So Sprock has he honestly doesn't have that many magic items because Aaron takes them all.
It's true.
So there's my thought of what I'm looking to give him a voice in roleplay. So where could that be? They're like a mouth.
So the
And I'm
goal
looking
is
for you for inspiration on this. I'm
voice
brainstorming.
of roleplay. So what kind of item? Like what?
Yeah. So I thought maybe a harmonica or an instrument or something that um, he could play or that he can telepathically connect with that creates a sound or creates a voice. Or maybe he had like some beatbox or like some jukebox or what's the transformer who can only speak in like songs?
Oh,
Bumblebee.
Bumblebee.
Bumblebee. Yeah, or you something like that of like you have this soundboard that you can verbally communicate with now if you want.
That's hilarious. See, if I had that, I would chat GDP and I would be like, I want to say this in lyrics from, Z100, and
Yeah,
that's what I would read to everyone.
right.
That's an interesting. So, but would you want it to be connected to the world, or do you want it to be? I guess we can get
Well,
into that
we,
later.
we
So
can always you can always connect it to the world,
you
but
want?
the mechanics, the function. Um, I actually love that soundboard idea.
Let's do the soundboard.
Soundboard, and where's Sprox? I'm trying to pull up Sprox character sheet.
Well,
And
so
this is something else that I do. I will look at everything they have and see what they actually would want and what they would need. So he has fancy armor and a ring of water walking. Oh, and a flashlight. So he doesn't really have much of anything. So we can
right.
make this, if we want, we can make this a bow, a fancy bow, because we know he likes to shoot his longbow.
Do you
And,
do, do you think? Yeah, he does like them. But the point is, the goal is for him to be able to have a voice.
right.
So how would that?
Yeah.
So, but is he talking
Well,
through it, or is he going to be able to hold it
like
and then he
play
gets
it.
a voice, or is he
Yeah.
playing it?
I mean, or you could have a helmet that has a like a little speaker, like one of the old cones that stick out.
What about like a doll that
Oh,
talks, like a little?
so and this is a great point. There's a one of the ways I also love to create homebrew magic items, and a way that D&D Beyond suggests is take another item and start from there and modify it.
It could be a
So
speaker. It could be like a,
there is a magic item, common magic item called a talking doll, where you can record a couple um, phrases into it and it can repeat them back. But we can make a homebrew version of that where there's um,
telepathic.
an illithid doll
Yeah,
that he can telepathically connect to, and it can speak in
common or
a voice, an
whatever.
audible
Yeah,
voice.
and maybe Jake gets to pick the voice or roll for the
Oh
voice.
no, he gets to do the voice.
Nice. I like that. Yeah, he's got to do
Yeah,
it. He's got to do the voice.
yeah,
It doesn't have. It could be Jake's
and
voice.
and he has to be holding the
Yeah,
doll.
and it's important. You don't have to. If the voice is supposed to be like this, you don't have to do that every time. But just
Right.
remember that when you're talking and reminding the players that this is how the voice sounds, that's hilarious. So the DM, that's
Yeah.
you, Chris. If he's going to sound like that, you need to say,
Okay.
Jake, how do you talk?
How does this?
What do you say in your raspy, high-pitched voice? I like to do that to remind people of Jake's, tentacles and stuff. I'm like, what do you do, you gross alien tentacle guy? Because I want people to remember he's not just an elf. He's a
Yeah.
elf turned tentacle guy. Okay, so it's a doll with a
A
talking
talking
duck.
doll that he can telepathically connect to.
We went from uh, Z100 radio to a arrow to a bow to a talking doll. Love it. Telepathically speak to.
Yep.
Now,
And
yeah.
Okay.
Now, what is this?
Well,
Yeah,
you go ahead.
world building. Of
That's
course,
right where I was
it's my.
going. I was like, how are we going to connect this back
So
in?
it's our really. It's not the DM is never really in complete control of the world, but I mean he
Yeah.
is, but he's not. Um,
We all build it together.
right, we're building the world of in Agoth Doomhand. So this thing could be where was it made? What's it made out of? Is it cloth? Is it like
You're
a
y- you've been dropping his father's backstory
hard?
hard.
Yeah. And no one
So
no one
I'm
seems to be
thinking,
biting. I'm
so
chumming the water. I'm chumming the water for Jake's like
you
uh
know,
you know
you know what this could be? This could be a on the on the tag is written or embroidered his dad's name.
ooh, a voodoo doll of his dad?
No, no,
Oh,
it's
it
just
could be
like
his
a
dad's
tag,
doll.
like it's his childhood doll or his doll that he lost somewhere that
Quimby?
this guy found and is selling.
And his name is Quimby? Because that's
Well,
his
it could
dad's
have,
name?
yeah, it would have like a tag Quimby.
Wow. Interesting. And what's it made out of?
That would be something that would encourage him to want to have it, hold on to it.
So for some reason, and it fits perfectly well, I mean, it fits not perfectly, but it fits into the story because the mountains. I mean, you guys just came. The Trigard trades with the Underdark. They have
Yeah.
tunnels that they go
Hmm.
through, and they also teleportation. Maybe there's a teleportation, an old broken teleportation system we find or somewhere or something, where they used to the backstory of his father. Maybe he had this thing and so blah blah blah, the young age.
Yeah.
Maybe you give Jake a memory, make him roll for something and give him a memory of the doll when he was like seeing his
Oh, I like
father
that.
carrying the doll when he touches it, and then he doesn't understand it, and all of a sudden the voice starts talking,
Yeah,
that type of
I like
thing.
that.
Um, but let's talk
Oh
about
man.
like the details of it. So, but also like where, so what's it made out of is the question because like maybe the yarn or the fabric or it is near Trigard, so that there's
Yeah.
a lot. It's not a lot of magic as much as it is science, but maybe there's a
Well,
little magic
but
element to it as
but
well.
but the doll would be from his homeland.
Yes,
So where is Brock's father from?
the Underdark
The
from
Underdark.
yeah
So it could be made with
Trident
spider silk.
Trident Spider Silk. I like that. Spider Silk from not the upper dark, but the middle dark
Yeah.
at the outskirts
Yeah.
of
Somewhere leading them.
Trident, the city of Trident. Or
Uh,
it could also say made in Trident because
what?
Trident
Well,
is sort of like this
the other thing that
made
I
in
get to
China
do,
type thing.
yeah, the other thing I get to do is when he's showing it, he could be describing oh, this is a old doll with a, a very fine, made out of a very rare, beautiful material, and know exactly where it's from. It's like, yeah, this was found right outside of Trident. This is the only cave in the Middle Dark that these particular spiders who are worshippers of Lolth uh, weave this special silk, and they're paid in human sacrifice.
Love it, love it.
Now I
You
have to
know,
remember that.
you know.
It's okay. I'll just watch the
Yeah,
video and
I
take
mean
notes.
you can create any backstory with it, or you can
Yeah.
also let the player
Yeah.
create the backstory.
I love
You
that.
just tell him, Sprock, this is a doll that you remember from your childhood. It is your father's. What is the memory that is taking place in
Yeah.
your mind? And let
Hmm.
him do it.
Him tell the memory. Yeah.
Right. And it's going to be
Absolutely.
funny because if he tells it, then the group is going to be like, what the fuck is going on with that? And da, 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 da. It's going to be good. Like a lot of role play action. So what is this?
Yeah.
So this thing, the only thing it's going to be able to do is there a charm aspect? Do you have to, it only
Well,
works for Sprock? Um,
here's here's another thing: is it doesn't have to have all of the abilities or all of the benefits pop up at once.
Right.
So the question I have for you, and this is kind of like, I promise to keep Stag out of this information. Is there anything, like, did his dad go crazy in any way or do something that no one would expect him to do?
Well, he does have a tie-in with Moses, and I'd like to say that he was a follower of Moses's. Maybe
Okay.
Sprock's dad, and Moses was the rightful, not king, but rightful like president or rightful mayor of Trident, that was booted out during your guys' siege of Striad when they took over.
Yeah.
And they eventually, the Mind Flayers went down south to the Middle Dark and struck a deal with the Drow down there. The Drow Empire now runs it sort of like, think, Darth Vader style regime,
Yeah.
Nazis and whatnot, focused on trading slaves as much as possible. Moses does not like that. Moses
Right.
was trying to free the slaves, saying we could do better than this, and he got sort of, they're trying to find him and kill him.
Right.
The Drow are, but maybe Sprock's character is, I mean, flip of a coin. Maybe he's pro Moses. Maybe he's not pro Moses. Maybe he is pro
Well, he
pro what's his name? Pro the crazy guy we made, who is the not Bo Jackson, but who's the other guy?
what crazy guy?
We created the character for um, the mayor of, here he is.
Oh, I completely
Tried it.
forgot his
Yeah,
name.
yeah. Not
Um,
evil, but
yeah,
anyway.
maybe you'll see evil. Um, but there's many other little things that can crop up over time,
Oh yeah,
having to do with the stall. That it can, like, maybe the longer he spends time with it, he gains the ability to do something else, or the doll can do something else, or he finds that he's unable to put it down, or it starts telling him to do bad things,
yeah.
or starts saying
I,
the opposite of what he really wants to say.
okay, so I like the mechanics. So let's talk. So we're talking mechanics of this thing now.
Yeah.
Okay, so the goal was to give him a voice. He has a voice. It
Right.
has a name on it. The name is Quimby.
Right.
And whenever, I guess at some point, a good roll by Jake or whatever, he'll remember it. And it's going to be Jake's. So when he uses it, he can communicate to the group, speaking in whatever pitched voice he wants, and that's with an accent of whatever.
in
Um,
in any language he
in
knows.
any language. Now, does he have to roll? Is there a role to communicate?
I
So
don't
I
think
don't want to,
no.
because Jake already has a hard, like, Jake's character, not Jake. Jake's
Right.
character has a hard time communicating with the group. So to add
Right.
another layer of, okay, let's see if you actually say that,
No.
you know.
And
Um,
I think just allowing it, that, like, the whole point of putting this in is to give that opportunity.
yeah.
I don't want to, like, give the opportunity, like, oh, sorry, now you can try, and you fail like 3 times. Like,
Yeah. So I think so the mechanic, so to make it a little bit more, so now Jake can talk, but that item is going to get forgotten, other than the fact that he can now talk to the group. So what would be like the negative feature of that? And I think you were just talking about that. Like, does
I
it
think
start? Does it have a mind of its own? Does it
that
when
that's
they
what I was.
sleep? Does it do stuff to people's? Does it become
Does
alive and walk around? Like,
does it go take magic items? No,
does it
that's what I was asking
does it
about his
want
mother. It's
the
like,
berserker?
is there something that this doll would have changed about his father over time. Of like he had a bunch of a falling out with a bunch of people because the doll started talking on its own and not listening to him, and he didn't understand what was going on, or it started to do like walking around and burn buildings down, or something like that.
Maybe the doll has a
They do like the idea of like something coming up over time after being in contact with it for a while, especially since it's a family heirloom.
interesting. So now we have to pull up and look at Sprock's character's backstory. But his backstory, I'll tell you right now, was his mother was a elf and his dad was a drow. There was
Yeah.
a drow was looked down upon, so that was a hard marriage, and his dad left at a young age, and or young, late teens or whatever, and sort of bore a hole a little bit. It's something that needs to be filled in Sprock.
Right.
And he went gallivanting through the lands trying to fill it with whatever comes next, that type of thing. Which was a good backstory because it leaves open a lot of things
What did his dad leave to specifically do?
I don't think he. I think he was from the
Well,
Underdark. Oh, I don't know. That's a good question for
okay.
Jake. That's but
Well,
with the item that we're creating,
mhm.
so what you're trying to do is have the effect or the special ability of the item be one that relates to Jake.
Well, it can be. I if that's possible, I like to do that because it makes it feel like even more of like this is the reason why all of that strife and turmoil happened in the past. So it wasn't their fault.
I understand that completely. So what I'm going to do for us right now is I'm going to go to my handy dandy PC backstory Google Drive, and I'm going to tell you right now. I don't remember much. I don't know. I'm a few hundred years old. Parts of it come back to me. Growing dark places, beasts, darkness. It made me tough, but quiet and guarded. I found solace in nature and animals. So remember, he is a druid.
Mm-hmm.
He's a druid elf.
Illithid.
Illithid. I remember my mother. She was a high elf. Dragonlance, something about Dragonlance. Valley elves of the Dragonlance. She was a moon elf in a Forgotten Realms. She blah blah blah. My father and I never really, never really knew, but my mother, I would tell my stories. Would tell me stories about him. Stories she made me swear I would never share with anyone. You see, he was much older than she was when they met. I think 300 or 400 years older, and they were never meant to meet. He saved her from a kidnap by the orcs during a struggle out of the that's an interesting one. Saved her from the orcs in the Forgotten Realms. Out there's a gateway. A gateway crosses to the Underdark. Okay, so I got to remember that. The orcs guard the gateway. My father was one of the right-hand commanders of Drizdo Jordan, Ranger of the North, said to be one of the who broke the mold. That's awesome because maybe the mold has something to do with Moses. In the world of Forgotten Realms, blah blah blah, drove his quality, good-hearted defender to the weak innocents, rejecting his heritage and adrift in a world that looks upon him with terror and loathing. Drizzt is a model of those few drow who follow in his footsteps, trying to find the life apart from the evil society in the Underdark homes. Yes, my father was a drow. Okay, so Drizzt is his father.
No.
Quimby.
Wait.
Well, he says in a world of forgotten
He
realms.
was the right hand of Drizzt.
Oh, right. So Drizzt was, and I guess the story, yeah, that fits perfectly actually with the Moses story. He was.
So he would have left to like work or to do that.
Right. Yes, to help him
Actually,
it like works perfectly.
I love that because that would Okay. There is another magic item called, hold on, let me pull it up. That is a stuffed animal that I have on one of my other characters that as you squeeze it, you can get advantage against being frightened. So that's one way to make this more usable. Of like his dad took it with him because it would help him do his job.
Right. He says here also that on the blackest of nights he came up with a pack of demon worshipping marauders to pillage and slaughter the surface dwellers. He was on another mission though, to find a medallion before Loth could.
Oh.
And then in the middle of that night, he found his mom, and that's how they met.
Hmm.
I mean, it's a pretty
Interesting.
good story.
Yeah.
And then he says, "I spent the rest of my time drinking." This is, you know,
Yeah.
so maybe the thing smells like a beer or something, stale beer.
So there's some beer stains.
Yeah, maybe he gets a whiff of
No, he
pub.
has a flashback of the doll and immediately smells ale.
Yeah,
You touch the doll and for some reason the taste and smell of ale fills you.
yeah, and it gives you a advantage on your
Yeah. Tell me the memory you have from when your father handed you this the first time.
Yeah. All right. So what would your mechanic be then?
Well, the mechanic on the other item is where did the
I mean,
wait, it gives you, if you have it on your person,
it gives you
you can use it to get advantage on being frightened, and once you succeed, then you can't use it again
okay,
until the next day, until your long rest.
and that's going to be the unfrightened.
Yeah, it's advantage against being frightened or
Okay,
breaking fright.
so he can communicate and he has advantage on being
Being
frightened.
frightened once per day.
That's going to be good because my my paladin will give the guys the ability to not be frightened, but she's not going to be there for that much longer.
Yeah.
Or, all right, are there any
Yeah.
disadvantages to this thing? Is there a mind of its own, or is that's it?
Well, I think I'm going to leave that open for you because something like that would kick in a little bit later down the line after you take over again.
Okay, love it.
Potentially. So I'm thinking maybe you give it like a month and then it starts
See how it's being used.
and then it starts telepathically talking to Sprock. Like you tell it to say this and it telepathically starts giving you advice.
But Sprock, doesn't it itself talk? It's essentially a speaker, right? It's
Yeah,
not
it's
going
a
to be.
speaker. That's saying it's like a speaker, but
So
like a Bluetooth speaker.
there are
But
so many cool things. Like you could throw it across the room and have it say something, and then get advantage on.
Well, you have to be holding it. So
Okay.
I'd say the limitations that you have to be holding it.
Or but even so, you could put it behind your back, and it could say something.
Well, but
and you're like, who else is in the room
Sprock
with
is
you?
walking around with a illithid stuffed animal.
Yeah. Well, it's just,
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking in my mind. I'm thinking, you saw the movie Number 9, the animated movie. I think it looks something like that.
Like that.
It's not like a
but
teddy
with a little
bear.
mind flare head.
Yeah.
Little tentacles.
Yeah. Perfect. All right, so that's like a pretty good example of, I mean, doing this together was fun, but I would imagine doing it by yourself, it's a little smoother.
Well,
But it's nice because
I like the back and forth doing it with two
Oh, yeah,
people.
it's
I know
awesome.
if it's me, it's sitting, staring at my screen or staring at my notes, just thinking
Yeah.
and thinking and thinking.
Or like
And the
me,
brainstorming back
yeah.
and forth and the lore questions and the backstory questions. It's
yeah, or like me, it's like at work, it quiets down, and I get a brief second. I'm like, an elf head. Okay, we'll come back to that in 30 minutes. But yeah, this item is going to. So the goal was to give him a voice, give him a little
Yeah.
role play, and bring his character in and be more immersive. I love it. It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's gonna be. It's
well,
gonna be good.
and give some sort of connection to his father, because there's a hole, like when his father's left, there's a hole that he left with Sprock,
Right.
but also Sprock didn't know him much, but there's still that inherent longing to want to know more.
Right, and it
And
could
this gives
also
some explanation for it.
that you could have added it in another layer, and you could
Mhm.
say it says Quimby on it, but it also could say for from Quimby to
Sprock.
or
Oh no, to his
mom.
real name.
His
Oh,
mom.
to his mom. No, I think it would be with the advantage
Too
of
much.
Fright. I think it's something that he would want to
He
hold
would
on
use.
to.
Yeah, got it.
And he would only not have in if something happened. So this might prompt him to go searching for him. Potentially.
Love it. Do you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna create items for the dead PCs that I've killed that were meant for them, and see what Aaron does. And they're going to have two mechanics, and one mechanic is going to be weird, and the other mechanic is going to be bad.
I am very excited to see
Yeah,
those.
like Matt's character is going to have like a lot of them. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Nice. Well, I think roll high and subscribe.
Roll high, subscribe. Yeah.
See us Monday. I got
Yeah.
Doom Hand, Skulls of Power.
Tune in Monday. Yes.
Maybe Sprock will get a new little stuffed animal.
It's going to be awesome. I honestly I can't wait. Hit subscribe. Check out the story on Unravel. There are going to be updates on our campaign that's playable soon on the link in the bio, which is going to be awesome. I just figured out the Artemisian Forest lore drop. So you know how we were talking about the Chronicle campaign, the Chronicle campaign primer. I got that done, which is there.
Nice.
Now I'm doing the Act 1 campaign primer for the Artemisian Forest. It's fantastic.
Awesome.
So anyway,
and
all
the artwork looks amazing.
It's gonna be sick.
The flow of it looks incredible.
We'll see.
So happy.
We're getting there. Until then, yeah, roll high, subscribe.
Dungeon Doom Hands. Let's talk lore. A podcast.